little belly rub. That makes me happy. That's about it. That's how I deal with my stress. It's usually a lot of crying.
This is the very first thing that Max Chadwick just heard when he came on with us was, I give my dog a belly rub.
Yes, it's National Dealing with Stress Day, and that's what I do. I either cry myself to sleep or I pet my dog.
Max, how do you deal with stress?
I don't have a dog, unfortunately, but I think I could use one with everything going on right now.
For sure. Max Chadwick, Pro Football Focus, joining us here as we look back on last night's big announcement, first college football playoff seeding and bracket released. I guess let's just start with your overall observations. Did anything surprise you? Anything stand out to you about the reveal last night?
Nothing was too surprising. The one thing I really don't agree with is how high Notre Dame is right now. I mean, I don't agree with them being above schools like Texas and Oklahoma, who also have 2 losses but way better resumes, in my opinion. And even Miami. Miami's 8 spots lower than Notre Dame with the same exact record, pretty similar resume, and Miami beat Notre Dame, right? So I think Notre Dame is really, really overranked right now. And, I mean, if they're putting them number 10 right now, that basically says to us, hey, if they win their final 4 games, they're pretty much a lock to make the playoff. I don't think that should be the case right now.
I was going to ask you about Miami later on in this conversation, but since you brought them up, let's go there next. They are almost certainly not going to make the ACC title game. Do you see a world in which somehow a 2-loss Miami team, let's say they run the table from here, can still get into the playoff without making the ACC title game?
Honestly, the way they ranked it last night, I struggle to see that right now. I mean, like you said, they're ranked number 18. It's way lower than I would have had them, or a couple spots lower, I should say. But, yeah, I think, listen, if you look at their record and their schedule the rest of the year, they play Pitt, who's a top 25 team. But it's not like it's a massive, massive game. So, I don't know. If they don't make the ACC title game right now, I don't think they're going to put Miami above Notre Dame if they're both 10-2 at the end of the year. And I don't know if Miami will be above some Big 12 teams or even some SEC teams at 10-2 either. So Miami, after being ranked number 18 last night, they're in a tough spot right now.
Yeah, and we've been talking about on the show the last couple of days that Miami losing to SMU was an absolute nightmare for the ACC. Now you're looking at Virginia or Georgia Tech or Pittsburgh or Louisville, SMU. Those types of teams are in the mix for the ACC title game and to get it at least the automatic spot into the college football playoff. Let's ask you about Virginia, because they're the team that's, I guess, technically undefeated in conference play right now, even though they lost to a conference opponent. It still doesn't make a ton of sense, but what do you make of this Virginia team? They've won a lot of close games. Do you think they are actually the best team in the conference, or do you think it's somebody else?
I don't think they're actually the best team, but hey, listen, you keep winning those games, man. It doesn't matter how much you win by. But yeah, Virginia, I think they're a really good team. They got another good game coming up this weekend against a really spunky Wake Forest team, I think, too. But yeah, I think Virginia is a pretty good team overall, and they're in a great spot for the ACC title game right now. All they got to do is pretty much maybe just lose one game the rest of the year, and they'll still be pretty good. So yeah, I don't know if they're the best team in the ACC, but it doesn't really matter at this point with the way the standings are shaking out.
The way the bracket fell last night, they had Virginia going up against Ole Miss in a 6-11 matchup, which, again, it seems about right for the ACC champ to be slotted in at that 11 spot right now. What kind of chance do you give the ACC of winning a game in the college football playoff? Like, what do you think the spread would be if it were ACC champion against Ole Miss?
I think Ole Miss would probably be... If it was Virginia, it would probably be maybe like a 10-point spread. I think now if Miami snuck in, I think Miami. So to answer your question, I think Miami still, in terms of how good of a team they still are, Miami still might be the best, most talented team in the ACC. But Miami's in a tough spot right now, like we mentioned before. So yeah, I think Virginia, whoever wins the ACC at this point, will probably be a pretty significant underdog, depending on whoever they play in the first round.
All right, let's talk about SU as long as we have you here. And just from, I guess, an analytics standpoint and, as you break down stats and rankings of players and whatnot, what stands out to you about this Syracuse team right now, good, bad, or indifferent?
They don't have a quarterback right now, as I'm sure you guys are very well aware. I thought it was it was kind of to be honest, guys, it was a joke that they put out a lacrosse player against North Carolina this past week. I know Ricky Collins has not been very good, but you had two other guys that you recruited to play quarterback that were behind Ricky Collins on that depth chart, and they passed them both up for a lacrosse player. And that kid was in a tough spot against North Carolina. True freshman, by the way, going against North Carolina and Bill Belichick. So, yeah, I think that's a problem with Syracuse right now is that they have talent elsewhere. I like what they have in their receiving core. But with that Steve Angeli injury and with Ricky Collins really struggling, I mean, they're struggling to find anyone to play quarterback for them right now. So that unfortunately could have killed what it could have been a really promising year for Syracuse.
Has your opinion of Fran Brown and the program changed at all from last year to this year? I mean, they go 10-3, they start 3-1. As you mentioned, we can all point to the fact that, okay, they lost Steve Angeli to injury and then things went south. Do you still, buy into Fran in this program and next year, or do you have your concerns after seeing how the rest of this year has gone?
No, I still think he's done a good job. I think, the thing that people need to remember is not just Steve Angeli injury. I mean, this schedule for Syracuse is absolutely brutal this year. Even with Angeli, I did not expect a bowl game out of Syracuse this year. That had more to do with their schedule than anything else. So I still think overall he's done a good job. And, I don't think hot seat should even be mentioned for him at all, yet at least. I think we're still like a couple years away from that. But, again, I don't think he's handled the quarterback situation very well, starting as a lacrosse player this past weekend. But overall, I think he's done a tremendous job at Syracuse.
What are your thoughts about Steve Angeli? The small sample size that we saw with, almost 4 full games. And I guess what do you look at as the ceiling being for this team in 2026, assuming he's back? Fran Brown said the other day that he is coming back, and just the young core that they've kind of put together here.
Yeah, I think Angeli is a great quarterback. I think he's proved that in the first few games that that Syracuse had out there. And I think with Syracuse, and hopefully, a pretty easier schedule next year, they can get back to making a bowl game next year with Steve Angeli at quarterback and a lot of other talent elsewhere. I know they got a really good recruiting class coming in this year as well. So, yeah, I like Steve Angeli. I like what they're building at Syracuse right now. And hopefully, next year we can see another bowl game for Syracuse.
I have a question for you. Like, how prevalent is what is happening at Syracuse this year around college football and even in the ACC? Could any other school in the ACC survive losing a quarterback like Angeli and then having to go to their backup and still expect not a drop-off?
Very few schools. Very, very few. That would probably require a starting quarterback to not be that good in the first place, honestly, for that to happen, and that wasn't the case in Syracuse and how good Angeli was playing. So, yeah, very few schools could survive an injury like that, especially when your backup quarterback and Ricky Collins was playing, like, quite frankly, one of the worst quarterbacks in the country when he was out there. So, yeah, it was a really unfortunate injury for Syracuse. Like I said, I mean, they might have surprised a lot of people and made a bowl game with Steve Angeli, and when he got hurt so early on in the year, that kind of killed all hopes for that.
When you circle back to the college football playoff picture as a whole, and you look at what they, what they released last night and where everybody was slotted in, do you look at Ohio State as a prohibitive favorite, or do you think that one of 6 or 7 teams could actually win the national title this year?
I still think it's an open race. I do think Ohio State is pretty clear-cut the best team in college football right now. I mean, you have probably the best defense in college football, and you have the best receiving core in college football, maybe the 2 best receivers in the country right now, and Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, plus, in my opinion, a special quarterback in Julian Sain. Like, I think, guys, he might be the next Joe Burrow, the way that kid's playing right now. His accuracy numbers are outstanding. I think he's the best quarterback in the country. I would give him the Heisman Trophy right now if I had to. He's only a redshirt freshman, too, so he still has 1 more year of college football after this, along with Jeremiah Smith. Yeah, I think Ohio State is pretty clear-cut right now, the best team in the country. But there certainly are other schools that are vying for that title, like Alabama, like Texas A&M, like Indiana. But I do think Ohio State right now, I would favor by a touchdown at least on a neutral field almost against anyone else in the country. All
right, if I told you that you can't take Ohio State, you could take anyone else, who would be your pick?
Oh, man, good question. I don't know if Indiana's got the top-end talent to actually do it, but I love the way they're coached, and they play like such a great team, so they'd be up there for me. And I also think Alabama's supremely talented, too. Alabama has a lot of talent offensively and defensively. Bama's probably up there for me, too. So I would say Indiana and Alabama, those are the next two schools for me that they could really give Ohio State a run for their money.
Yeah, that path, if Indiana gets the path they had last night, I think they would feel pretty good about that. They would avoid Georgia. They'd avoid Alabama. They'd, avoid some of the Ohio State certainly until the title game. So it was a very favorable path for Indiana last night. Max, as always, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much for coming on, and enjoy what's left of this college football regular season. I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, appreciate you. Max Chadwick, Pro Football Focus. And with that, we'll hit a